Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. It's Denise. Welcome to the show. It is September 13th, and we are here to talk about the 1-year anniversary show of NXT 2.0. And here's what's going down, guys. So I came in here thinking like, okay, this is what's going to go down. We're going to talk about the show and all of this stuff that happened and whatever, right? Like I already had it in my opinion set for the night, etc. But then we ended up closing out the show with somewhat of a shocking, I guess you can say, announcement of the future of NXT. And we are going to be talking about that here today. But before we get started, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am here each and every single Tuesday to chat NXT 2.0. Also Wednesdays to chat AEW Dynamite, and then Fridays to chat Smackdown and Rampage. Also, before we get started, feel free to take part in the chat. This is a very interactive show. Send in your thoughts. We will be reading them as I go through this entire show. If you want to make sure your question, comment, or statement gets read on the show, or you just want to help support me each and every single week, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat, and I will make sure to read those here today. But we got lots to get into, mainly in terms of looking at the future for NXT. So let's get into some super chats, and then I'll run down what actually happened and what's going on and where we are right now. So here we go. We got our first super chat from Steven, who says, thanks for letting me be a part of the pod family. Of course, dude, thank you for being here. Sends in another super chat saying the black and gold is coming back, ? So that is, we might as well kick it off with that, because I feel like that is what we need to actually talk about right now. Okay, so for those of you who were not watching NXT today, let me give you a breakdown of what happened in the closing moments of the show that basically got, everybody talking on social media and whatnot about what's going on. So as you all know, Triple H is now, running creative for WWE. And so a lot of us were expecting changes, obviously not just to the Raw and SmackDown side of things, but we were also maybe expecting some changes over on the NXT 2.0 side of things. Now, it's not taking, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or anybody to acknowledge the fact that NXT 2.0 hasn't hit the same as the original black and gold version of NXT. It's you can't even really compare the two. They are two polar different types of programming. And a lot of people did lose interest when they changed over to NXT 2.0. In fact, it was only just a couple of us that hung on each and every single week. And for me, I know a lot of people trash NXT 2.0, and I get it, man. I get it. But each and every single week for me was a little bit different. There were things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and we talked about that each and every single week. And it was funny because today's episode of NXT 2.0, I thought the first hour of the show was pretty fine. It was a good show. For the first hour for NXT 2.0, I was interested. I loved the opening match, which I'll talk about later. But the last hour of NXT 2.0, I actually found to be one of the most brutal hours to watch for me. And that's obviously aside from the main event, because the main event, we'll talk about that separately. But everything that happened in the second hour, aside from the main event, really had me testing my patience with the program, And so I'm watching this show, and then they're like, oh, there's this very special message or something along the lines of a message from Shawn Michaels, right? And I'm thinking, okay, they want to close out the show in a, nice way, given that it's the 1-year anniversary show. So I thought that's what was going to happen. I'm like, okay, they're going to, just give us a thank you, whatever, right? So Shawn Michaels' voice comes out over on a voiceover, and basically he's saying something along the lines of, hold on one second, I wrote this down. He says, he's doing an end message about how this is always going to be a place to develop develop stars and this and that. And he says the one thing that's never going to change about us is the passion that we have for our fans. So he talks about the passion never dying. And then he closes it out by saying, we are NXT. And that's usually their go-to. That's their slogan, right? And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, okay, this is a nice, sweet little way to close the show. And it has the NXT 2.0 era logo with the colors and everything, the Fruity Pebbles one. And then, so you see that logo, and then suddenly it changes, it morphs into a new logo with the colors black and gold. It's not the same logo as the one before. It's a new one, but it has the black and gold. And so instantly you're like, holy shit, wait, what's happening here? What are they going with this? Now, look, I'm going to start off by saying this. Clearly, we're not going back to like the old great NXT black and gold era. I have a feeling like the way that I'm seeing this is they're just going to rebrand it back to the black and gold. And I have a feeling that the programming is for the most part going to stay along the same lines. I hope that it gets a little bit better in terms of, this is still a developmental show, but I feel like there are some stuff that people haven't been really able to get into, some of the characters being a little too cartoonish, too childish, that sort of thing. I'm wondering, I have so many questions. I'm wondering, how is this going to change the actual, the body of the show, what we're actually seeing on NXT 2.0, because this NXT 2.0 era with the fruity colors and all of that type of stuff, it was a very more of, it started off more as a sexy type of show. And, there was a lot of different stuff like that was alluded to on the show. It was geared more towards, I guess you can say, a younger audience. They were incorporating all of these things to make the show feel a lot more fun. It was definitely a lot less serious than NXT, the black and gold era. So here's I have so many questions. I don't know if they're just rebranding the color scheme, the aesthetic of it, or are they also going to be changing or altering some of the content that we're seeing on the actual show? So I feel like that to me is what's going to be surprising. And even prior to this, we should have probably seen this coming, because they had, it was put out there that this show was, for next week, was going to be a pre-tape show. So the show that we're seeing next week is going to be a pre-tape show that, we were going to see. So your people, I don't think I saw it anywhere else where people were saying why specifically they were taking this week off and not shooting. So from the sounds of it, I'm guessing that the reason for that is to do the rebranding and, the rebranding of the stage and the setup and all of that stuff. That's what I'm taking from all of this. So, all right, let's talk about this black and gold NXT era returning, and let's see what people are saying. Steven just said that Triple H just sent out a tweet using the hashtag We Are NXT. I have not seen that yet. I did see the one from sorry, I'm checking right now. I did see the one from okay, I saw it. I see it now. I did see the one from the NXT website where they basically just put that they're loading now, and they showed the little clip that they closed out the show with. We got a super chat here from Sheldon Jackson, who says Sami Zayn time is running out for him in the bloodline because everyone else has championship gold. That is true. At this point, he's going to have to get a gold tooth or something, because he's got no gold. And we will talk about how the show closed out in just a second. But thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for sending in that super chat as well. We got another super chat from Justin Martin, who says, 1, they lied to the audience about the vote by manipulating the result. 2, how many freaking belts does one family need? Hashtag justice for Mello and Wesley. We're going to talk about that, because I have a feeling that everyone's opinions on the closing of the show is going to be, I don't know what it's looking like. I know how I felt about it, but we'll talk about it in just a second, man. All right. So before we continue on, the things that I am hoping for in terms of, I don't know, are they going to keep calling it NXT 2.0? No. Are they going to call it just NXT, or is it going to be NXT 3.0? Like I think it's just going to be NXT now again, like just WWE NXT, because I feel like the 2.0 and any point O's or anything that they do like that is going to get people to be like, ugh. I think that they should just stick with WWE NXT and that's it. Like just leave it there. But in terms of what I do hope changes, and even some of the things that I do hope that, kind of stays the same, changes, I want to see. I know this is a developmental, and I know that's what it's supposed to be. That's perfectly fine. But there's like levels, there's like really, really bottom of the barrel bad. And then there's, there's layers above that that's just better quality. I don't want us to go all the way down to the bottom of the barrel. Like I want to see better quality matches, because that's been the thing that's really been like hard when it comes to this new version of NXT 2.0. There's been some good matches, do not get me wrong, and we've talked about them here before plenty of times, but there have been some matches where I'm watching them and I'm just thinking to myself, like, what am I doing with my life right now? So I do want to see better quality matches. I know it's developmental, but obviously we can still see better quality as we have in the past. So that's the one thing that I do really hope that they have to bring back, or else people, I don't feel, are going to be that interested no matter what color they, paint the NXT brand. On top of that, the one thing that I do hope that they incorporate from the NXT 2.0 era into this NXT 3.0 or whatever we're calling it, NXT whatever. The one thing that I do hope that they continue on from this period is I have been liking the vignettes and the creativity behind the vignettes. Like I love the vignettes. I love that they've been, finding different ways to like spice up some of the stories that I have been appreciating from the NXT 2.0 era. So I hope that they incorporate that into they still keep that the same for this new version of NXT, because I remember like the last couple of months of the NXT Black and Gold brand, like we were getting some good matches, right? But there was nothing that was really story-wise that I didn't think was really it just like the show felt very, very simple, very straightforward, and it needed a little bit more life versus it was just like match, and there was like nothing else in between. So I do hope that they do add a little bit more life into the show, and that's what they did do with NXT 2.0, but then we lost all of the good wrestling. So I hope we do find like a nice, happy balance there. Reductive92 sends in a super chat saying, hey, Denise, the NXT logo turned white and gold in the animation. It looks like keep slaying the blonde hair. Thank you so much. And yeah, this is what we've been talking about. Some of the clearly we have more questions right now than anything. We still don't know where exactly, how different is this going to be? How different is this new NXT going to be exactly? So we kind of just ran through that really quickly, but let's see what you guys are saying. This is a super chat from Justin Thomas, who says, I know AEW Dark tapes there now, but I'd love NXT at Universal Studios. Dude, at this point, I'll take NXT like down the street from my house, man, because I'm so tired of seeing the CWC. I'm so sorry, but it's like the same venue over and over again. Does get a little bit like, we need to spice things up. But given that clearly they're going to change up from the looks of it, they're going to change up the sets and all of that, then, maybe yeah, I have nothing much to complain about, really. But thank you so much to Justin Thomas for also sending this in as well. Let's see what people are saying. So this is from Dan, who says, just drop the 2.0 part. The people watching already knows what changes have happened to the show. I agree. Drop the 2.0 part. Completely agree. Just keep it at NXT, because I feel that the 2.0 and the colors, it really just it goes with like the vibe that people don't want to watch, and there's a lot of people that did not want to watch. All right, so let's see what we got here. Let's see, we got so many different thoughts in terms of what people are saying about this. This is another comment from Dan, who says, apparently they'll tape next week's show tomorrow. We may know if they're changing the show's presentation or not. Well, from the looks of it, they are definitely changing the show's presentation, because if not, why would they, end the show the way that they did? So I'm definitely expecting it. Christopher Smith says, keep it with NXT. The colors in 2.0 didn't really work. Oh man, Zeno Hour says coming soon. NXT in Denise's house. Yeah, in your house, but Denise Salcedo's house. All right, guys. So there you go. That's the big news when it comes to NXT and the changes that are looking like are going to happen. But now let's go ahead and actually get into the show and what took place here today. Again, this was the 1 year anniversary show, and I'm just gonna be completely brutally godforsakenly honest with everybody. I thought this show was not good. Not good. And given that this was and given that we do have a big topic today to discuss, that does not, those last 30 seconds of the show that we found out this news does not take over the 2 hours that I sat there thinking that this show was not good. Given that this was an anniversary show, I think that we should have been seeing different types of matches. We should have been seeing more important stuff. And I think they should have highlighted the best of NXT. There have been other NXT 2.0 episodes that were just dramatically better, in my opinion, than this show here today. Like the first hour, I'm going to put over the opening match. I freaking loved the opening match. There were other things that I liked on the show too, but the second hour killed me. It killed me the second hour. It was very, very hard to get through that second hour. So let's go and talk about what actually happened. So it opened up with Pretty Deadly versus the Creed brothers. This was the highlight of the show, okay? Yeah, I said it. The highlight of the show. This steel cage match was freaking awesome. You had two teams that I actually care about. I care about Pretty Deadly. I care about the Creed brothers. I have been rooting for the Creed brothers since the beginning that they came out on NXT 2.0. Pretty Deadly instantly was different, unique, fun, good matches. Reasons to like both teams, right? I love the whole premise of this entire match. So basically, like the story that we had here from the very beginning was that Pretty Deadly was doing everything possible to escape the cage so that they can actually, win and retain the titles. Okay, fine. Like that was their whole thing. Like they just wanted to leave the cage, etc. Creed brothers, they were not letting them escape the cage, clearly. And they were finding all of these ways to basically just like beat the living crap out of Pretty Deadly. They had a bunch of high impact moves. They were slamming them against the cage. There was a lot of really good stuff that happened during this match that I really enjoyed. So I liked that they were just wanting to cause Pretty Deadly some pain there. So that was really, really fun. There were some great moments during this with like Julius carrying both members of Pretty Deadly while like Brutus knocks them off over his shoulders. That was really great. There was a spot that I almost thought I was going to hate, and I ended up actually really liking. And this was Damon Kemp running in and basically trying to like ruin the match for the Creed brothers, right? So him and Julius are at the top of the cage, and they're sort of like from like the angle that we were looking at things, it looks like Julius got the best of him, right? Because he's kicking him, and finally Damon Kemp just falls off the cage. So I'm thinking, okay, fine. Cool, whatever. He's not going to ruin the match. But then it was revealed that he actually handcuffed Julius, and you couldn't see that until they actually zoomed in and pointed it out. So once they revealed like he was handcuffed, this literally became Brutus in a handicap match essentially against Pretty Deadly. And so I liked this because Brutus was doing everything possible to try to keep Pretty Deadly from escaping. There was a moment that Brutus was trying to help Julius detach himself from the cage, unhandcuff himself from the cage, and Pretty Deadly was trying to escape, but then Julius finally it was Brutus who then took them out afterwards. So I did like how they were like playing this whole story of like, dude, he's pretty much on his own, but then they found a creative way to actually still have Julius be of use for this match. Pretty Deadly ends up hitting their finisher. It's a near fall. Then they hit it again, the spilled milk, and finally they end up getting the win. So this was a really fun match, and this was the highlight of today's show. 1000%. I love this match. Mike Parker sends in a super chat saying they look to building towards a mix of elements of both versions, going from a Braun bait match. Going from a Braun bait rematch on the wrestling side, still had vignettes. Mandy's still the face of the women's division. I really want to see those. I completely agree. Like, I want to see those both elements of, black and gold and 2.0 mixed into this new updated version that we're going to get. I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to call it NXT, the new one. Really, because I do think that there is like a lot of potential. I do like the idea, obviously, of seeing, these people start off and, just get better and better. But I don't want it to be so bad, though. And there were some bad matches tonight, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I do like the incorporating both things from NXT 2.0 and Black and Gold. Thank you so much to Mike Parker for sending in the super chats. Very much appreciated. All right, so let's go ahead, and we got people putting over this match as well. So much good stuff here. This is from Fernando, who says this was really a fun cage match. I love the Creed brothers. They have a great future. Completely agreed. They're gonna add so much. And let's see what else we got. We got Christopher saying he liked the psychology of the match. I did too. It was very, very entertaining. Made sense. It was enjoyable, easy to follow, entertaining the entire time. They actually utilized the steel cage. Like, that's one of my pet peeves. Seeing a steel cage match and seeing people not use it, they actually did. So that was fun. Jose Alvarado says the intro song would not be great for Black and Gold NXT. If it's going back to that, it needs to have that poppy rock intro song back. Dude, I'm pretty sure Triple H is going to make sure that his music is being played. His type of music that he likes is being played once again on NXT. So yeah, I completely agree. We got Eddie putting over Julius Creed. A lot of good stuff, guys. A lot of good stuff. All right. We also had a flashback video with NXT 2.0 memories, and I'm going to use this opportunity really quickly. So tomorrow, I'm going to be appearing on the Post Wrestling podcast, and we're basically doing like a full NXT 2.0 year review. I can't wait to do that. That's going to be tomorrow. I'll post a link on Twitter once that's actually up and running. So we'll probably, go more in depth with NXT 2.0 and whatnot. Now, let's get into Fallon Henley versus Lash Legend. So, first and foremost, love the moment. Obviously, it's Connor. WWE has Connor's cure, so they did have, a little boy whose name is Mason Ramirez, but he calls himself the Night Howler. He came out during the entrance and was also there for the exit of the match with Fallon and Briggs and Jensen and all of that. So that was really cute. That was really adorable. I am so happy that they kept this match short and to the point. Gave Fallon her victory. She won really quickly. She hit a bulldog. She get the drop kick, got the win. Thank God. This did not go any longer than it needed to, because it did not need to go any longer than it was. So thumbs up. I was very happy about that. Quick and to the point. So good for Fallon. Afterwards, Fallon is celebrating her victory. She has a moment backstage where she essentially calls out Mandy Rose because Mandy Rose is being rude. According to Fallon, she's being rude, even though technically they were being too flirtatious with Mandy Rose. Whatever. There's going to be more to that later on with Fallon and Mandy. So we'll talk about that later on. Yulisa is apparently injured. She's going to be out for 9 months. And this led to what I'm not wanting to watch next week, guys. I'm not looking forward to next week's NXT because I'm so far not in love with the card. And one of those matches is going to be Sangha versus Von Wagner. Yup. Sangha versus Von Wagner. Man. All right, moving on from here. Let's get into Toxic Attraction because they had a lot happening on today's show as well. So they come out, they're putting themselves over. JC and Gigi start saying how they are the best when they were tag team champions, that they were the best tag team champions in the company and this and that. Mandy says that they've proven to be the baddest bitches in the room, tells people to put some damn respect on her name. And then finally, Alba Fire comes out. Alba Fire comes out and she starts basically saying that she lets her work speak for herself. She attacks all the members of Toxic Attraction with her bat. She super kicks Mandy in the face, beats the living crap out of Mandy while Mandy has her high heels on and everything. This is great. I've been wanting to see, clearly, Toxic Attraction has been appearing on Smackdown now. So either they're going to be appearing on both shows or this is going to be like their way to get ridden off of NXT and onto the main roster. I'm assuming that maybe Alba Fire is going to be next in line to take the belt from Mandy Rose. I don't know. If I do think that she would be like, out of the options right now on NXT 2.0, I would actually very much like to see Alba Fire become the NXT Women's Champion because I think that there's just so much potential with her. And I've been a fan of hers for quite some time, actually. So that was the Toxic Attraction Alba Fire segment. And I'm hoping it leads to more of Alba Fire becoming champion and seeing Toxic Attraction fully move on over to the main roster side of things. But I do want to put over Mandy Rose, though. I think I put her over quite a few times now on this show, but really, I do think she's been doing a pretty decent job on NXT 2.0 since being moved down there. So yeah. Let's see what we got. We got some questions here and see what people are saying about this. We got people putting over Toxic Attraction saying that they're great on NXT. Dan Pariah says Sanga's the best babyface in NXT. Okay, so here's the thing about that. Like, Sanga is actually, I like Sanga. You know what? Like, for the most part, he's been pretty funny. Like, honestly, he's been pretty damn funny. He's had, like, small parts here and there, but for the most part, the guy is likable. He's got a likable personality. I don't know what it is. I really, really do not know what it is, but yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move on from here. Let's get into another part of the show that I actually really liked, and I've said this before, but heel Cora Jade is legitimately one of my favorite things to happen in NXT 2.0. I've been loving this entire storyline with her and Roxanne. Call me a fan. I've been a fan of this. I love this vignette. Okay, so Cora Jade has cut some savage promos. One of them was a while back when she basically called out guys for like doing it with their dolls because she said like, dolls don't count if you're not out there with a real woman. Yeah, somewhere along those lines. I forgot verbatim what she said, but that was pretty much the gist of that promo. And it was probably like the most savage promo I had heard in quite some time on NXT, especially for the girls, honestly. Like, that was a really, really savage promo. And it got, like, a lot of attention, actually. But whatever. So she's continuing that. She does this vignette, and she basically says that she came into NXT wanting to be liked by everybody, wanting to make an impact. She says, though, that, she wasn't seen that way. She highlights her feud with Natty, and they highlight a little bit of what she did with Natalya and how Natalya basically, like, told her the future was bleak, slapped her in the face, etc. And she basically says, all of that got in her head. She brings up Roxanne, but then she says, I'm not going to waste my time talking about that garbage. And you guys already know the story, so let's just continue on. She says she's living her best life. She doesn't need the approval of the fans. She says the fans have the knowledge of a second grader. And then she buries all the women on the NXT 2.0 roster. My favorite one, and I think this was about Zoey. I think this is what she said about Zoey, but she said something along the lines of, my shoe has more personality. And it killed me. That line killed me because the shoe having more personality, I actually thought was pretty hilarious. But anyway, so she buries everybody on the roster, and that was that. I love heel Cora Jade. I love Cora Jade as a mean girl more than I did as a baby face. I freaking love it. I'm here for it. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's continue on from here. Oh, man. Christopher Smith says, love that line with the second grader. It was funny. It was really funny. She has some good stuff. Honestly, she does. Quincy Elliott versus Sean Gallagher. So Quincy Elliott, the super diva, made his NXT 2.0 debut here today. This is more Dude, it blows my mind. I don't know how many of you guys were on this stream last time when I talked about the first time they announced Quincy Elliott. Okay, so Quincy Elliott, I used to ring announce like back in the day, like several years ago when I worked at this independent wrestling promotion in the Inland Empire called Empire Wrestling Federation, EWF. And his character was the character of Congo Crush. So basically, he was like this big dude in a mask, and he didn't speak the language. He would just make sounds, right? Like whatever the sounds were that you get it, like Congo Crush, the character would do, right? So that's what the character was. And that's what I knew him as for the longest time. And so I'm watching him right now as a super diva, and it's so polar opposite of what I'd seen him do before. It blows my mind. Like, I had no idea that he had this personality inside of, like, in him. Like, I had no idea. It's just polar opposite. Now, I love it. It's funny. It's very NXT 2.0-ish. Coming out as a super diva, he's grinding or twerking. I don't know the club terms that he's doing with the ring post, etc. And this ends up being a quick little squash match. He beats the jobber, Sean Gallagher. And then afterwards, he like grabs the referee and he does like a little dancing thing with him. Quincy Elliott, he's more of a vibe. He's more, I think, going to be more of like a comedy type of character on the NXT roster. But there you go. It's just crazy to see like the character that he was when I first knew him and then the character now as NXT 2.0, polar opposite. It's wild. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. And Ed Jones says, hold up, what did he do to the ring post? I don't know. Was he like twerking on it, grinding on it? I have no idea. Okay. But he was doing so. He was like backing it up on the ring post. Like, that's all you need to know. He was like backing it up. I don't know. Go back and watch the clip. All right. Moving on from this, we had Tony D'Angelo, Channing Stacks Lorenzo against Cameron Grimes, and his opponent and his tag team partner, ended up being Joe Gacy, who came out midway through the match and to be Grimes' partner, even though Cameron Grimes did not want him to be his partner. Let's see. Gacy ends up covering Stacks for a pinfall, and that's how that match ends. I didn't really like this, guys. I'm sorry. I was completely out of this one. Grimes essentially, is telling Gacy he doesn't want him. Gacy's trying to get a hug out of the guy. The Diet essentially comes out. They appear. They all attack Cameron Grimes, and the entire schism beats down on Cameron Grimes. That's what's happening. All I want to say about this is if whoever's listening to this podcast, I'm just going to manifest it. Move Cameron Grimes to the main roster. It is so long overdue. I ain't even messing around anymore. This is serious face. Send Cameron Grimes to the main roster. That's it. I'm done playing these games. I'm done. I think my patience has gone up to here. Finito, finish. Man deserves to be on that main roster already. That's it. That's all I want to say about that. I don't even care about anything else that happened here. Really, really don't. JD McDonough is getting his neck shaved. Or his beard. His neck. The same thing, right? Okay, sorry, guys. He's getting shaved. He's going on, cutting up like his really deep, serious promo. Gets cut. Starts bleeding. He looks at it. Looks like he got his period for the first time. That's only a joke that girls are going to get. Moving on from here. Braun Breaker interview. Definitely better than the interview that I did with Braun Breaker. That's for sure. That's an inside joke. All right. So Braun Breaker basically runs down everything that he's done on NXT 2.0 and this era and all the accomplishments that he's had. And he later on he wins the NXT biggest star of NXT 2.0 thing. Good for him. That was pretty much expected. So this was a fine way to incorporate him onto the show and just run down everything that he's done. But it wasn't like a groundbreaking interview or anything like that. Yeah. We had a tag team match between Zoey, Nikkita, Kiana, and Arianna Grace. And I think this was the point of the show where I had completely tuned out at this point. Really, I did. Nikkita got the win for her team. That's it. I don't even think I have anything else to add about this. Shoot. YT says, when is that interview coming out, Denise? I don't know. It's up to Sean. He promoted that interview with me and Braun Breaker as being, quote, horrible. It was not horrible, okay? It was kind of just like, it was one of those things where the way that I would describe it was I came at the interview, I started it off with like a lot of energy. I was very excited to talk to Braun Breaker. And then Braun was just like, yeah, so this is what's happening. And so instantly that was pretty much like the vibe of the entire interview. So that's why it didn't really work out too great. But dude, like I also feel bad for him because he had done like 40 interviews by the time he got to me. And after me, he had to do like 40 more. So he had like a really long line of interviews. So keeping up that like energy, it's a lot, especially if you're not like used to it or if you don't like doing interviews and you're like a talent. I think it's gonna be a bit. And you know, there's gonna be people that are gonna ask you the same questions. Like that's just how it is, you know, like people are putting out these interviews and they're going different places. So you're going to have to answer the same question more than once, especially when you have, I think they told me that there was like 70 something media that day. So anyways, that's just my defense and all of that. But we'll see when that interview finally goes up. All right. So, and then Jeremy says that Braun actually came off as pretty relatable in the interview. And more people asking me when I'm going to release that Breaker interview. Oh, man. All right. Let's see what we got here. This is from Jeremy who says Nikkita had a nice mid-kick adjustment during one of her spin kicks to make sure she made contact. That was a good heads-up move on her part, I thought. Yeah, that was fine. That was fine. It's just that the problem I think with this one here is that I feel like it was hard to get into that match because, you know, for the most part, like we've been seeing Kiana James for a bit now, but, you know, she's still not like a major player on the show. Arianna Grace, I think we've seen like once or twice before. So it's hard to kind of get interested. Nikkita, it's fine, you know, whatever. Zoey, fine, whatever. She just had an awesome match. I think, what was it, like a week or 2 weeks ago? Great stuff. But I think it was just hard to get involved completely into the story, at least for me. We got Oro Mensah. All right, so we got Oro Mensah, who's going to be making his debut next week. This is Ashton Smith. Now, I don't know how many Spanish speakers are on listening right now, but the name Oro Mensah kills me. It literally kills me. Okay, I don't know what the name Oro Mensah means to Ashton Smith or to WWE, but I know what it means to me as like a Spanish speaker. So like Oro Mensah, I'm really waiting. Jeremy says it's Oliver Carter, not Ashton Smith. Sorry about that, guys. My mistake. Oro Mensah. Let me go back to this because it's killing me. All right. Okay, so Oro is obviously gold. It's gold. Oro, gold. Okay, fine. Mensah, if you say it like Mensa with like Mensa, it's dumb girl. Like dumb woman, dumb female, Mensa. Like dumb, but for the feminine version, right? So Oro Mensah, when I hear it, it sounds like dumb golden girl or golden dumb girl. It drives me nuts. Sorry, guys. I don't know. It kills me. It really, really kills me. All right. Yes. Thank you to Kevin Maria, who also pointed out as well. Mensa does mean like idiot, dumb, whatever. So when I hear, and obviously that's not what it means, but when you like hear it and you know the words, what they mean in Spanish, but like separately, it trips me out, man. Oh, man. Leighton Illuster says, he's gold, you dumb girl. LOL. Yes, that's what the name translates to. It's what it translates to. It drives me nuts. Okay. Whatever. Oh man, I feel bad. I shouldn't have said that. But when I saw the name, I was like, no. But but Mensa is not spelled it's spelled differently in Spanish though. It's not, I don't think it's spelled the way that his last name is spelled. It just sounds like it. All right. Well, there you go. Moving on from here. We got Javier Bernal versus Hank Walker. This is like, the crowd was interested in this match. Like, don't get me wrong, the crowd was interested in this match, but I personally did not feel for an anniversary show that this was the kind of match that I wanted to see, because I don't even know anything about Javier Bernal or Hank Walker. So I kind of wanted to feel like I knew what was going on here, you know? And I get it. They're doing the whole security thing, etc. This got people interested, but this wasn't really my cup of tea. So I think at this point, like I'm telling you guys, the last hour for me was really, really rough to get into. Very, very rough. I've seen good stuff about Javier, so that's great. And Hank Walker, for the most part, like that finish, he got a nice reaction. So I guess this was, this worked out a lot better than it probably did for other people. All right, moving on. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and get into the matches that have been announced for next week. We got JD McDonough versus Tyler Bate. That one, actually, I'm really excited for. That's going to be a number one contendership match. We got Axiom versus Nathan Frazier, and that is going to be their second, which is their best out of the three series that they're doing. And Sangha versus Von Wagner. Not interested in that one. And then we have Ivy and Tatum against Toxic Attraction. That should be a fun one as well. So it's really just one match that I'm not really looking forward to, but everything else should be pretty okay. So it doesn't look too bad. All right. Braun Breaker's announced biggest NXT superstar of the year. And now let's go ahead and get into the main event. So we already talked about the whole NXT black and gold stuff. We already discussed that. So let's get into everything that happened right before that. So Carmelo Hayes was set to basically wrestle an opponent that was going to be chosen by the people, right? And I forget the options. It was Wesley. I think the other option was Joe Gacy. And I forget the third option. But there was three options. Wesley ends up being the person that is chosen to actually go up against Carmelo Hayes for the NXT North American Championship. And so then afterwards, Wesley ends up getting jumped by both Carmelo and Trick Williams. So he doesn't end up getting to come out and wrestle this match because he gets hurt earlier on in the night. So Carmelo Hayes comes out and he starts basically saying how he has the heaviest head, he wears the biggest crown and this and that. He's putting himself over. And then he's interrupted by Solo Sikoa. The second Solo Sikoa came out, I was like, yep, Carmelo Hayes is losing the NXT North American Championship tonight. And this is where, look, I know why they did it. He's part of the bloodline. He's on the main roster. He had this big grand moment at Clash at the Castle. They're giving Solo Sikoa a lot, okay? So it was very clear from the beginning that he was going to become NXT North American Champion. He came in there, he tells Carmelo Hayes, I got next. This match gets started right away. He dominates Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams at one point midway through the match ends up pulling the leg of Solo. So Carmelo Hayes is able to get the upper hand once again. The match really picks up after that. And crowd got into this match afterwards. Solo Sikoa, however, ends up picking up the win, and he is now the NXT North American Champion. So, yes, the bloodline has all of the gold right now. In terms of how I felt about this, like, I get it. I know why they did it. I know why they have Solo Sikoa as champion and all of that. But personally, man, I just think that, like, in-ring wise, Carmelo Hayes is at another level. I enjoy what Carmelo Hayes brings to the table, and I kind of feel like both times he kind of got like robbed out of like really having a fulfilling run as an NXT North American champion. Like the first time when they took the championship away from him, I felt like, okay, at least it's Cameron Grimes. I like Cameron Grimes, so I know what direction we could go with him as champion again. But then They gave the title back to Carmelo Hayes, and you thought it was going to be for a reason, and then it really wasn't. And then Carmelo Hayes is the champion once again. It's getting that ball rolling, or just trying to get that ball rolling again. And then bam, it's taken away by Solo Sikoa. So personally, I kind of feel like they did it just for the sake of the bloodline and all of that, which is fine. But I did really like Carmelo Hayes as champion. So I don't think it really makes a difference to me. But it was very obvious the second Solo Sikoa came out that he was going to be champion. So, it's fine. It's cool. It's all right. Now, the number one thing that commentary kept asking immediately afterwards was, is this title going to be taken to SmackDown? Clearly, it is. Alrighty. Let's see what we got here. Any thoughts on Solo Sikoa becoming champion? Thoughts on that? Isaac Looper says they're hot potatoing the titles for a bit. Now that Solo Sikoa has it, they might as well really do something with him as NXT North American champion. So I hope it just doesn't become an accessory and he actually has matches and they're good, and I'm just hoping for a good run because I really like that title, and I like the meaning of that title, and I want to see them keep that going strong, keep that going strong. But yeah, I was a bigger fan of Carmelo Hayes as champion, to be honest. Let's see what we got here. Zeno Hour says the bloodline owns all of WWE. Ed Jones, the heaviest head. That was freaking hilarious. I was like, I've never heard anybody put over the size of their head, just like Carmelo Hayes did here tonight. I love that, actually. He was like putting himself over, but at the same time, like buried himself for having a big head. Oh man, that was funny. This is from Justin Martin, who says this was not needed at all. Mello, Wesley, and the fans who voted all got screwed. Bloodline now has 5 championships on 3 different brands. That is ridiculous. Well, I don't know what to say. It is what it is. I don't know. Like, I was bummed, but I'm not like angry about it. So I don't want to like pretend like I am, because it was clear this was going to happen. It was clear. What can you do? All right, so let's see what else we got. We got people saying some people really don't like it. Some people are just cool with it. It really just matter. I guess it just depends on the person, guys. Like it always does. I personally, here was my thing. Like, I remember when Solo Sikoa, basically got involved at the Clash of the Castle. My whole thing there was, I almost feel like they did this in reverse. They should have built up Solo Sikoa, became NXT North American champion. They should have had him. They should have built him up way sooner, had him become NXT North American champion, had us win over he already won over a lot of the fans, but win over me particularly. Whatever. I'm just kidding. But really have him have a strong NXT North American championship run where you could be like, oh yeah, there's no doubt that this guy is sick, this and that. But I really wish they would have done it the opposite way, they should have just had Solo Sikoa win the title way before this, and then do the thing that he did at the Clash of the Castle, and then, make him into a force to be reckoned with. Because here's the thing, when he came in at Clash of the Castle, he still hadn't done very much on NXT 2.0. It was really just all in the name. That's all it was, and the family legacy, the bloodline. That's all it really was at this point. But nothing really major had happened with Solo Sikoa on NXT 2.0. That's how I was like, when it happened, when the whole Clash of the Castle thing happened, I was just like, not necessarily something that I was totally in love with, but whatever. It's fine. Alrighty, guys. That's about it. That was NXT 2.0, the 1-year anniversary. Next week, we do got the tape show. So hopefully you guys will come in. We'll chat about that. And then we'll see what happens right after that. Chances are we'll be talking about a brand new era of NXT. But that's it for me here today, guys. Make sure to come back tomorrow for AEW Dynamite coverage. And then I will also be here on Friday to chat SmackDown and Rampage. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you later. Bye, everyone.